King Charles has thrown his support behind Canada in a powerful speech during his royal tour, with many viewing it as a subtle or not so subtle dig at President Donald Trump. Have a look.
Today, Canada faces another critical moment. Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear and ones which the government is determined to protect.
And meantime, could there be any plans for a quick catch-up with Harry and Meghan while he's in the region? Probably not. For more, we're joined by 9Honey royal reporter Nat Oliveri. Nat, good morning to you. Okay, first of all, let's talk about this speech. How's it been received? Well,
I would say the same, not subtle at all, actually. I think there are about 4 references to protecting Canada's sovereignty. And this is all in those, in the face of those threats made by Donald Trump about making Canada part of America, its 51st state. Look, King Charles, he is head of state of Canada, as he is here in Australia, and he has to walk a fine line. He can't be too political, but he absolutely made it clear that Canada has a right to be its own country. He was praising the people for having its own identity, and he also gave many personal insights into his relationship with Canada, talking about how, this was his 20th visit, and every time he visits, it just makes, it becomes like more of a home to him. So really, really lovely words from King Charles. That speech wasn't written by him, it was written by Canada's government to present, I guess, their plans for the year ahead. But he has been warmly welcomed to Canada. The people love him there, as they do in Australia. And look, this trip, it was very, very quick, less than 24 hours in total. He's already back on his way to home, but he certainly met as many people as possible during his short time there. And really those words, they're going to go down in history really as being one of King Charles's most significant, especially in light of what's going on at the moment.
It's certainly going to make it very interesting because Keir Starmer obviously turned up when he was in the Oval Office with the President with an invite from the King for the to host Donald Trump later on this year.
Yes.
If that invitation takes place, this adds a little wrinkle to it, I think.
Well, it's interesting because the King has apparently invited Donald Trump back to the UK. It would be his second state visit, which would be a first, really. Presidents don't usually get invited back for another state visit. We haven't actually heard any dates of that firming up yet, but so really, will it happen? Who knows? It certainly would be a big thing if it did. But I think it's just this royal tour was really being billed as more than just your average royal tour. King Charles had to make his mark. It was his first visit to Canada as sovereign, and I think he has done that.
What else did the King and Queen get up to while they were there?
Yes, it was very short, Sylvia. The first day they met as many locals as possible, going to a market stall. They bought some maple syrup to take back home to the kitchens of Highgrove, as you do. They planted a tree. They went and visited a war memorial. And look, I think it was just, they only had less than 2 days there, so they really had to make an impact. And the Queen, this is them arriving on Monday, and the Queen wore one of the late Queen Elizabeth II's diamond brooches, also worn by Kate when she was in Canada in 2011. So, the royals, they do that diplomatic dressing every time they go on royal tour, and we saw Camilla doing it there.
Also good to see the King looks healthy too.
He does look healthy.
Talking about his health the last few months.
Yeah, and he was in April. In April, he was in Italy, so he's certainly been keeping busy. We're expecting him to take a few days off now that he's back home. But look, good on him for being out there. It's what we want to see from our King.
Sure. Well, with Harry and Meghan, they're just in Montecito. That's not that far away, but it turns out Harry's nowhere near them.
Yeah, look, many were speculating that this could be a chance for King Charles to meet with Harry while they were sort of in North America at the same time. Turns out they weren't actually around there at the same time. Harry went to China over the weekend. He flew there for a travel conference speaking about sustainable travel in his role as head of Travelist. So he wasn't even anywhere nearby King Charles. They haven't apparently seen each other face to face in more than 15 months. And Harry said just a couple of weeks ago that the King doesn't even take his calls anymore. So as much as a lot of people want those relations to be repaired, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon.
Well, there is another royal heading our way. Princess Ingrid of Norway is coming to study in Sydney at university.
Big news. Now, Australia is going to be welcoming the future Queen of Norway. As you said, Princess Ingrid Alexandra, she's heading here in August. She's going to be studying at Sydney University. and doing a social sciences degree. She's at the moment second in line to the Norwegian throne. So her grandfather is currently king. She's 21 years old. I can imagine her getting into a lot of university life when she does touch down. She's going to be staying on campus as well.
Wow.
So do you think she'll be sharing a room or having her own?
100% should be shared.
Surely. You got to have the full uni experience, right?
It's going to be really interesting.
A week's going to go off.
It'll go off.
Look, just 2 years ago, Queen Mary's nephew, Count Nikolai, he was living out here studying at UTS. So Australia is really, really attractive for these young royals wanting to study away from home.
Get the HEC stats up.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's right. Good for them. Thank you, Nat.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
soon.
All right, just